Ms. Howell will be the next one the first one to answer this next question. What would you say are the main components of a school environment that makes students want to be there and want to learn?
I think one of the most important components is that students know that they are really cared about and they make connections with their teachers. Students will do tremendous things and are motivated based upon the expectations of their teachers. They have to feel that they have an environment that's safe. High expectations are critical for them, but they have to be engaged in exciting learning, and they have to get feedback in terms of where they're at so they can continually improve. But as in any kind of environment, you work and you produce for people. And if you know that you're appreciated, valued, cared for, and that your teacher believes that you can achieve, you're going to work to their expectations.
Ms. Howell, Mr. Poore?
We have buzzwords in education about this that we use all the time. It's in every conference and a lot of our literature. And there's 3 R's. It's relevance, relationship, and rigor. Now, we've been saying those words for a long period of time. We haven't necessarily delivered them, especially to every single kid. And I think there's a way to do this. I mean, it's not brain surgery. Every single one of our children has a passion, or has something they love, or they have an interest in. And that's what you need to engage to get kids to be a part of their school and be fired up. Now let me give you a specific example. This is one I use all the time. I don't care if it's a superintendent, the principal, a secretary, a bus driver, or a teacher. Comes up to a kid and says, "What is it that you want to do?" And the kid says, "Oh, I don't know." Okay? Then you say, "What is it, your passion?" And I've done this with a kid and a parent standing there, and the kid goes, "I want to be a skateboarder." And the parent goes, "Oh God, I can't believe he just did this to the superintendent." And my first response is, "Dude, that is so cool. Do you realize that that is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and right here in Falcon District, we can offer you the ability to be able to design skateboard parks, build the actual skateboards, to be able to look into TV production, because we have students doing that. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. What is it that you want to do now?" The kid's freaking out and saying, "Dang, I'm going to have to go to work." And the parent is sticking his chest out and saying, "My son is a skateboarder." Okay? Now that's what happens in an environment, and just think if we have all of the adults in our community pressing that type of question and engaging them in the things that we can offer in this district, we'll have an engaged student body.
Thank you, Mr. Poore. Mr. Schoeppey?
He stole my 3 R's, but I do want to talk about one of the really important, what I think relationship is. I think that is number 1, the relationship that a student has with the teacher. But I also think the relevance of the curriculum is also one of the most important things. Kids today are not the same as kids were 10, 15, 20 years ago. They're not. And they cannot continue to learn the same way I did when I was a student. Part of NCLB, the NCLB Act, I think did some good things for us, but I also think it did some rather bad things for us, because one of the things that it did is I think it's taken creativity out of the school system. We are so worried about state tests and making sure that kids memorize stuff for the state test that we're telling kids, don't ask questions, just learn this material. Just learn this material because it's going to be on the state test. Instead of allowing kids to explore and to use higher order thinking skills and to be creative and innovative. And that's what kids want to do. They want to use the technology that they have today that we didn't have when we were kids. They want to show us their understanding and how they can be just as smart as we are. They may show it in a different way. They may do it, through making a movie or writing a song or those kind of things, because that's what their world is. And so I really think it's very, very important that we allow kids to be creative, inventive, work together in groups. Those are skills that kids are going to have for the 21st century. You can look at big companies and they'll tell you what they want. They don't talk about content. They want kids to think and be able to think outside of the box, to be creative. That's what they're looking for, and we need to put that back in our classrooms.
Mr. Rayburn.
I just ask you what, in your own experience, what made you want to learn? Who were the teachers that inspired you, and why did they inspire you? I look back in my own life, and it was the challenge of something. In part, that's why I decided to apply to the Air Force Academy, because of the challenge. When I graduated, it was part of the reason why I wanted to go fly fighters. I was privileged to be at a fundraiser for Pikes Peak Academy, which is a alternative school for kids who are in real trouble. And a young man spoke to us. He was extremely articulate. He was just as sharp a young person as you will meet. But not many years before, in fact about 2, he was only receiving Fs in another school district and was on drugs and was headed for a life of real despair. And the principal reason that he was succeeding at Pikes Peak Academy was because for the first time he was really being challenged. And I think our kids look for a challenge. And our great teachers understand how to challenge the kids appropriate to where they are and what their personalities are and things like that. So when I think about learning and teaching, I think about challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Rayburn.